Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gen Sense. Hope you're doing well. Today I got for you guys 10 different fragrances that are perfect for a date night. Some really magnetic fragrances, alluring fragrances, the type of scent that's gonna make somebody get closer to you or wanna get closer to you. Even if you don't want them close to you, might be somebody kind of weird walking by you and give a little sniff and they kind of creeping on you. Keep that in mind. Maybe sometimes don't wear these. All of the fragrances I talked to you about here today are gonna be linked in the description. Feel free to check them out down there, over there. I always forget about that. Years of memory of saying in the description, just out the window. Let's get started. Let's jump straight into it with this one. The One Eau de Parfum Intense from Dolce & Gabbana. Now when it comes to the One, a lot of people are gonna think the One Eau de Parfum. That's the one that's kind of like the go-to as far as the date night fragrance in that lineup, or maybe even the One Luminous Night, which is absolutely fantastic, but really difficult to find, at least in the US. The One Eau de Parfum Intense gets completely overlooked a lot of times. It's like this is, you know, somewhere in the back burner in the nether realm, and people forget that this is a fragrance that you can actually buy and wear. And it actually smells awesome. So, you know, it's actually kind of a good thing in a way that it's not played out, but it's kind of a shame it doesn't get as much love as maybe it deserves. So you have cardamom in there, a good amount, smells really nice off the top. You've got neroli in there as well, cashmere, leather. Then you have a little benzoin as well. So it's this fragrance that has a little bit of a mix of fresh ingredients and also some that are sweeter, a little bit deeper and warmer. And while it definitely is more of an evening fragrance, more of a fall and winter fragrance, because of those fresher aspects, it gives you a different style of scent than what most people are going to be wearing around that time of year. Perfect for a date night, perfect for a time when you're, you know, cozying up with somebody. This stuff is fantastic. And unfortunately, right now, the One feels like it's kind of up in the air. Hopefully not, you know, knock on wood. Hopefully we get some new The One fragrances soon. But there's been nothing announced this year, and the last one that came out was Luminous Night, and that isn't even like a real release as far as, you know, getting widespread distribution. That's just an exclusive edition for the Middle East. And I know maybe it feels like, oh, the One Luminous Night and the One Gold, those didn't come out that long ago, right? It came out in 2021. That's the last time we got the One fragrance, so hopefully we get a new one soon. But until then, this can be a staple in your wardrobe in fall and winter. Again, awesome scent, big compliment puller. Follow that one up with Eros. This is the Eau de Parfum. Realistically, you could put any of the Eros fragrances in this list and they would work, but I think the best ones, at least my own personal taste, if we're talking about for a date night or an evening out type of thing, is gonna be the Eau de Parfum and the Parfum. If you're younger and you want to go sweeter, then you could go the Eau de Toilette, especially if you're like going to a bar or club or something like that. But the Eau de Parfum splits the difference a little bit between the Eau de Toilette and the Parfum. So that one has probably the most versatility for people. And when it comes to Eros, like, what do you need to say, right? As far as, you know, will it get me positive attention? Of course. That's why it's one of the best-selling fragrances in the world. So with this, you have mint, apple, citrus, vanilla, and ambroxan in there as well. Really, really, really easy to wear. Big time performance as well. Projects heavily, lasts a really long time. And while overall it is really similar to the Eau de Toilette, this one is ever so slightly classed up a little, you know, it's slightly more mature. The ingredient quality feels a little higher overall. It's just like the, you know, the little step up. And so if you can swing it, I think the Eau de Parfum is the move. If you're looking for an Eros fragrance that you can use just about anywhere. Let's talk next about the new L'Homme Ideal Parfum from Guerlain. I gotta say, once again, not the hugest fan of Guerlain basically just taking everything and throwing them like into this bottle style, and then the only difference between them is the name of the fragrance. You slap a little sticker on the front that looks the exact same across the whole line. To me, really boring. And I know that that's kind of just a personal thing. Some people don't care about that at all. But again, to me, like if you go into a store, right, and you have all those different fragrances lined up and they all look the exact same, if you're somebody who doesn't know a lot about fragrances or that house, you're gonna look at it and be like, I don't know, man, these are all just, it all looks the same. I don't know what all this stuff is. I'm gonna go check this other stuff out. Again, I could be completely off base there. That's just kind of how it looks to me. I liked it more when we had a little differentiation between the bottles and the line, you know, different colors, different color schemes, stuff like that. I know it's more expensive. This one has amaretto as one of the main, the big note here, you know, the thing that sets this apart from the others in the L'Omédiol line is gonna be the amaretto, which is, if you're unaware, an almond-based liqueur, which has a nice sweet aspect to it. And this stuff, fire. Really good. It's one that the more you smell it, the more you like it. You also have a leathery aspect in there that you pick up really early on, sits underneath the amaretto initially, so you have more of that almondy sweetness off the top, a little bit of booze, warmth, and then the leather underneath. Very elegant, but sexy at the same time, attention grabbing, very different from most fragrances on the market that aren't L'Omédiol fragrances. And if you're a fan of that line, you gotta check that stuff out. One of the better ones. Okay, let's go niche. Really obvious one, Angel Share from By Killian. And this one, of course, if you don't want to swing the cost for Angel Share, there's 8 million different alternatives out there at this point. If you can swing it, you know, just grab the OG. This stuff will get it done for you every single time. But if you can't, there are high quality alternatives, is all I'm saying. Most popular one is probably Camera from Lattafa. Fragrance World has a nice one as well. Dumont has a good one. I mean, there's a lot. There's a bunch. So this is one that's really sweet, very warm, very rich, very boozy, and that probably more so than a lot of the other ones that we'll talk about is what people would think of as a date scent, because it has that extremely attractive, very sweet and warm scent quality to it, which is what in a lot of people's minds they think of as, oh, that'd be a good date night fragrance. Like I said earlier, the One Eau de Parfum, for example, La Nuit de l'Homme Eau de Toilette, stuff like that. And while this does have a multitude of rich, sweet notes, you know, praline, cinnamon, the booze that I mentioned, tonka, vanilla, hazelnut, sandalwood, like all that together, even though it has all those, it's still balanced out pretty well. At least to me, never comes across headache inducing or anything like that. And this one always gets a reaction. When I have people smell this who have never smelled it before, 8 million different alternatives out there at this point, that's fine. You know, on to the next or anything like that. This is always, always a fragrance where they smell it and it's like, whoa, what is that? How much is that? It's always that. So Angel Share, gotta include that one, even if it is one of the most talked about niche fragrances out there. Follow that with Yves Saint Laurent, Why Le Parfum. This is another one where you could go with multiple fragrances from the line and it would work. Why Eau de Parfum, depending on what situation you find yourself in, that could be a better choice than Why Le Parfum for some people. If it's a little warmer outside, Why Eau de Toilette, Why Live could work, Why Eau de Parfum Intense could work, even Why Elixir. All I'm saying is, when you have a fragrance line this popular, this successful, because of its mass appeal, you really can't go wrong. But if I were gonna point somebody to just one fragrance from the Y line, they said, look, I want an elegant, sexy, attention-grabbing fragrance that I could also sometimes use just as an everyday scent, you know, a blue fragrance, if you will, I would say get Le Parfum. So this has that attention-grabbing opening, that apple, grapefruit, ginger, where it's very fresh, sweet, lively, and has that aldehydic freshness from the Y line that you expect. But then as it dries down, you get sage, tonka, woods, a little bit of incense as well. And it goes in a little bit more of a classy direction as compared to Why Eau de Parfum. You know, it's a little bit more buttoned up. So you get that White Eau de Parfum playfulness initially, and you're definitely getting the compliment factor as well. It's just as it dries down, it doesn't go quite as sweet as the Eau de Parfum does. So really nice choice, I feel like, and that's one that you could use about year round. Summertime, I think I'm reaching for something else, but spring, fall, winter, good to go. Now we got a newer one, Scandal Absolute. This is another release where it just works. So this has Mirabelle plum in it, and it has a honeyed sweetness as well, sort of a chestnutty aspect. And I've talked about the Scandal line being overlooked, at least in the US, as far as date night fragrance, compliment pulling fragrances, stuff like that. Scandal is really nice for fall and winter time. The original and the Parfum edition, but I feel like Absolute is the best. Like this one, it just is firing on all cylinders. Now there's some aspects from the other Scandal fragrances that are missing here a little bit. That aromatic touch that those have, this one doesn't really have. It's been replaced with those sweeter notes, the plum, the honey, but that's gonna make it overall a sexier fragrance for people looking for a night out scent. Like this is one of those ones that just, in the air, you cannot go wrong. I feel like if it were easier for people to get in the US, they would be going off about this. And the people that have gotten it, by and large, love this stuff. And it's another one that just consistently gets good reactions. So Scandal Absolute, this stuff is awesome. If you can get your hands on it, do. A very expensive one next, very expensive, from Guerlain again. So we got two Guerlains. This is Tobacco Honey. So retail price on this, $395. That's pricey. Those two sprays just now, that's 50 cents. I don't actually know, but it wouldn't surprise me. But it smells just fantastic. If you're a fan of sweet tobacco scents, this one is great. It's great the first time you spray it on. Later, it smells even better 2 weeks later. It's one of those ones where every time you smell it, you like it more. It has tobacco, tonka, vanilla, honey. Of course, I mean, the name is tobacco honey. Oud, I think, is technically a note in there. Do you really get too much oud? Not really. You know, you get kind of a bit of a dark woodiness as it dries down, but anything that has like a funk to it, no. But that's fine because that's not the type of scent this is. It is a sweet tobacco with a nice spiciness along the edges that supports it the whole way through. It's extremely well done, very wearable, and it does smell high-end, which you would hope for that price point. This is for the guys who just love themselves a nice, warm, sweet tobacco, and they want one of the best ones on the market that's, again, extremely wearable. It is unisex, leaning a little bit masculine, and I would say for a number of people, it may even lean a little more masculine than something like Tobacco Vanille. We have Bleu de Chanel next. This is the Parfum edition. I thought about putting in, you know, like Sauvage Parfum or something like that, but I didn't want to load it down with too many blue fragrances. I already had Why Le Parfum, and so it came down to Sauvage versus Bleu de Chanel. And I think for me personally, I would go Bleu de Chanel Parfum, which is why it's here. And this is gonna be one that you could realistically wear whenever you want. I talked about with Why Le Parfum that it had really good versatility. You know, you could wear that as a blue fragrance, but maybe summer, maybe you want to go something else. I think Bleu de Chanel Parfum, it doesn't matter, whatever you want. Opening is nice and fresh. You have lemon peel in there, bergamot, some mint as well. As it dries down, lavender, geranium, woody notes. It's extremely easy to wear, as I said, anytime, day or night. So while, yeah, it works really well as a date night fragrance, it's just in literally any place you find yourself fragrant. Just do keep in mind, this is a Chanel, which means it's a little pricey. And also, you're probably not gonna find it for a big discount. Chanel fragrances typically are not marked off much, if ever. This size right here, 50 mils, cost me $160. There's also a 100 mil size, a 150 mil size, and they cost even more than that. I think the 100 ml is just under 200 bucks, and then obviously the 150 is over. But if you want a classy, high-end blue fragrance that will have you smelling amazing anytime, day or night, all season long, get this. Follow that up with the scent Magnetic. It's in the name. It is magnetic. There's also the scent Elixir, which came out this year, and the scent Elixir shares some similarities to the scent Magnetic. So they're not, you know, hugely different, but they both do smell amazing. The scent is well known for its use of Meninka fruit, which this has as well. Gives it a unique flair, like a exotic fruity sweetness off the top, and there's a good dose of vanilla in here also from the opening and to the dry down, so you have to like vanilla to enjoy this one. Thankfully, the overwhelming majority of people do like vanilla. And it's that mixture of Meninka and vanilla that really sets this off. That different type of fruitiness that you have here makes it very unique. One of the other notes in here is bran, which is different, but that's not really what makes this the scent Magnetic. Wonderful for the evening, great date night fragrance, especially if you want something a little bit different. And we're gonna end with the Mean Carved Oud. Beautiful presentation on this one. Smells similar to Oud Wood from Tom Ford, so it's in that wheelhouse, in that style. You have some cardamom off the top, gives you a really nice touch of sweet spice, and you have some green notes around the edges, additional woody notes as it dries down. Very smooth, elegant. You even have like a smattering of floral notes in there. As I said, close to Oud Wood, but a lot of people probably prefer this one because at this point, this is gonna have a little more push. It's gonna get you noticed a little easier, and it definitely does not smell like a step down as far as quality from Oud Wood to Carved Oud. Both are amazing, by the way. You can't go wrong with Oud Wood, but Carved Oud is really, really amazing in that same style. So if you're looking for a classy date night fragrance, classy, elegant fragrance, Carved Oud should be at the top of your list. All right, guys, there we go. There are my choices. A lot of these are gonna be more thought of as like fall and wintertime fragrances, but if we're talking night out scents, especially date nights or more elegant nights, you probably want something more like that unless it's really hot. Then you could go with something like the Bleu de Chanel. All right, guys, thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.